What's up, you guys, and welcome back to another video. It's the only Yusuf, and as you can see behind me, I have a lot of books. And today I'm going to be talking about some of the books that have been very helpful to me in my life. So there's different varieties of genres that these books cover. Some from history, some from personal finance, some from investing, some from psychology, and also some from self-help and spiritual and religion. And if you haven't seen any of my recent videos, I like to talk about the importance of wisdom and learning before you actually do, just in case, you don't know what the steps are. And I wasn't a fan of reading. I did not own any books. I did not like to read at all in school. And I was more of a visual learner. So I doubted myself that I couldn't learn from reading. But I was wrong. And I'm sure there are many of you who are visual learners just as I am. And that's why I created this channel, to show you step by step my life experiences, to teach you about your finance and just about life in general. So if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and hit the like button, and let's get started with the video. And the first book I'm going to be talking about is like the best recommended financial book ever. And you probably heard it because of my videos. I've talked about it before. That will be Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And this book, believe it or not, is filled with so much information that can actually help you understand the game that we're playing here in life, which is with our finance and earning money and being able to live well with our money. This book talks about Robert's childhood, meeting his dad's friend, aka the rich dad, and learning lessons from his own dad, aka the poor dad. The differences from his rich dad and his poor dad is that the rich dad was a businessman. He did not graduate college, and he was wealthy, financially successful, as society puts it, right? All he did was learn about money and educate himself about money. His poor dad, his own dad, who graduated college, got a degree, and studied, was getting paid well, and he was a teacher. His money didn't last, and he had to pay off debt he put on through going to college. This book is basically the beginning of learning financial literacy and all that. So if you want to start going through that route, I definitely recommend you to pick up this book. It costs only $8, and you'll be able to learn a lot from it. The next book that's in my list is going to be a psychology book. It is also a very recommended book throughout the business world, and that book is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And this book, let me tell you, is way valuable than you would think. You'd probably read the title and be like, oh, how to make friends?
Oh, you don't have any friends.
Everything, like I mentioned, is about psychology. It teaches you how to be more of a persuasive communicator and make people like you, and be more of an effective leader in understanding and having empathy for others. One of my favorite things in this book, it's something that you may not think is important, but it really speaks when you say it. And that is remembering someone's name. I know, I was like, remembering someone's name, that's like the most important. And it is true, because when you speak to someone, you're speaking to that person specifically. And if they hear their name, they recognize you because you actually know their name. And it goes more deeper into it than I'm explaining. So if you'd like to pick it up, I recommend you get this one if you're into being a leader and all that. But financial, self-help, like self-finance, and psychology. So the next two books are actually just novels. These don't teach you anything, but they are my favorite books that helped me throughout my life. And the first one is The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. It kind of explains a story about the rich and the poor, and they find that they are actually not that different from each other. And that's what I got from the book. So that's why I'm recommending it. And the movie's also great, but I love the book more. It's more detailed. Yeah, so if you guys want, there it is, The Outsiders by S.C. Hinton. So the next novel is going to be actually one of my favorite artists' book. It is written by Logic, also known as his author name, Bobby Hall, and it is called Supermarket. It's basically a book about a guy named Flynn who works at a supermarket, but then it gets crazy because it's like a sci-fi thriller. Yeah, without spoiling too much, it's like a sci-fi thriller. It gets messy in the supermarket, and you actually come to find out his life. And this next book, I'm not gonna get too much into it because it is a heavy topic, and it is Hard Times Create Strong Men. It is basically a book about the failed leadership we have in the male culture. I personally do believe some stuff is true, but not all of it. This book basically talks about how in hard times there are men who rise above and become strong for our society and our leadership to be able to move forward as a society. And the quote that basically summarizes this whole 700-page book basically is, hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times for the years to come. Good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. That's all I will say. If my male followers would like to pick this up, it is somewhat offensive, I am not gonna lie. I really enjoyed the information it had. There is some things that are true that we're facing that this book covers, and that is not talked about in the mainstream media. And last but not least, I have this book, and it is about religion and spirituality. It's called The Way of the Warrior by Erwin McManus. And I have a funny story about this book. I wanted this book a year before it came out. I actually went to this pastor's church. It's called Mosaic. Maybe some of you have heard it. What really intrigued me with him was that the way he would make you understand about God and Jesus with your own life, with the real world that we face. It is very basic, the way he explains it, but this book is all about finding like your inner peace, how Jesus was humanity's inner peace. And I'm not going to get too into it too because it is a lot to cover. And like I've mentioned, I waited a year for this book. And the reason why I waited a year for this book is because there was a time where I was at a service when he was preaching, and he randomly decided to share a sentence from this book. The sentence is all he had, he was saying. And I'm going to read that sentence right now. So the sentence is, the warrior is not ready for battle until they have come to know peace. And that kind of got me thinking into, wow, all these soldiers, all these warriors, all these people who are fighting something have to have known what they're fighting for. If they know what peace is, they can fight that war to come to know peace. It actually covers plenty of other sides of being a warrior, like the leadership, what it is to fight for peace and all that. Like I said, I'm not going to get into it. Erwin McManus, The Way of the Warrior. I wish I could take time to show you all of them, but I know that wouldn't be possible in a single video. But yeah, those are my favorite books that I recommend you guys to pick up. Definitely check them out if you were interested in the basic summary that I gave of them. And with that being said, I'd like to thank you guys for watching the video. Remember to click that like button, and most importantly, subscribe, because you guys don't want to miss any other videos that I'm putting out. I'm putting out a tax video, my very first time paying taxes this year. That's coming in April, so be sure to be subscribed for that. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.